Good morrow, my lovely little ghosts, and welcome to the Dark Orchard. I'm Laura, and this is a makeup video. As I said in my intro, this is a makeup video. More specifically, I'm going to be doing some Penelope Garcia inspired makeup while reviewing a specific makeup brand that you know from the title. I have a few products from the beauty brand Makeup a Murder, and I thought what better way to showcase both their makeup and their theme than by doing a Criminal Minds inspired makeup look. I have many images of Penelope Garcia saved on my phone so that I can reference them and try to do this makeup the way that she does her makeup. But before we get into all that, let me show you the products that I have. So I have my evidence case, and inside I have 4 Makeup a Murder products. I may not use all of these products in this video, but even if I don't use them, I do want to show them to you just so you know the different varieties that they have. The one thing about this brand that really drew me in was the first product I'm going to show you. This is an eyeshadow pigment called Blood, labeled Blood. It has the hazard symbol on it. It's labeled as evidence, do not tamper. But then you can see the powder is shimmery red. This is so super cute. The packaging is just on point, and this is what sparked this entire video idea. I may or may not use this specific color, but I love this so much. Next we have a Poison bottle. Poison by Makeup a Murder. It's a UV neon pigment, so this actually shows up under the black light. And it is a very bright pigmented green. And if you remember from my Uniglitter video, I love things that show up under the black light, so that's really awesome. And then I kept this one in its bubble wrap just so you could see how they actually package these things, because it blows my mind how much attention to detail they actually pay. So this is another pigment, but they have it sealed, like sealed evidence. And it says, to be opened by authorized personnel only, do not tamper, and then it's bubble wrapped, and as you can see it's another Poison bottle. So let me open the evidence, and it comes in a little bubble wrap pouch, and then this is a pastel Poison neon color. These are all pigments, by the way, so you will need a primer with these. But I just love that like pastel orange color. Next, I have some crime scene tape. This is what it says, cosmetic eyeshadow tape, but it says crime scene. I thought this was super cute. It's a great add-on if you're already getting pigments. Just like pop this in too, because it's just so super cute. And it is just a roll of crime scene tape. Let me see if I can, there we go. A roll of crime scene tape. It's a lot on there, and it's supposed to help your eyeshadow stay in the right place. Because Penelope Garcia's makeup is not very elaborate and it doesn't have sharp lines, I'm not sure if I'm going to use this for this look, but I may use it for Valentine's Day. And then finally, I have an evidence marker. Makeup a Murder. This is number 4. And it's lashes. And then it says, fact, evidence markers are numbered and used to mark items of evidence at a crime scene. So it explains the packaging. Now I'm going into this with a completely clean face, except for the lips, because I didn't want to start my video off naked. The next thing I need to do so that my face doesn't look so weird is I'm going to do my eyebrows. And I'm going to try to do the same curved shape that she does with hers, while sticking to my bushy eyebrow shape. While I have my eyebrow pencil out, I'm also going to add her little freckle mole thing that she has on her face. I don't know if it looks better, but I feel better. Her mole is on this side, between the curve of her mouth and her nose. So a thing about Penelope Garcia and her makeup, I've looked at so many pictures of her makeup, and she usually does 1 to 2 colors, and it's usually the lid, and then it draws out into a like a rounded shape on the corners where the wing would go, and then usually a lighter color or the same color that's on the wing brought down. And in quite a few photos that I've looked at, she has green eyeshadow. So I think I'm going to be using the green and the orange pigments. I'm going to be using the green as my base eyeshadow and then the orange to create that almond-like shape that she has in most of her photos. So I'm going to use the NYX White Pearl Primer on my lid, which should brighten up that space quite a lot and provide a space for the pigments to stick. Because we're doing Makeup or Murder makeup, we're doing Penelope Garcia makeup, and I thought while I do my makeup, I might talk about some true crime things. More specifically, one true crime thing. And so I thought I would talk about a specific true crime story. This story I'm sure most of you have heard because it's pretty notorious, but my family has a history of criminal justice and working within the justice system. So my whole life, I grew up with true crime. Every night when all the other grandparents were watching Jeopardy, my grandpa was watching America's Most Wanted. My childhood revolved around, like I said, the justice system. Growing up in my family, you had a favorite serial killer story. One of my cousins loves to read about Jeffrey Dahmer. Another cousin is obsessed with Ted Bundy. Another cousin likes to read about the Green River Killer. Something about our family, we all had that one that just stuck with us. The one I am going to talk about today was mine, and that was the story of John List. So John List was a man who killed his wife, his mother, and his 3 children. He was from New Jersey, and he believed that by killing them, he was saving them. So first, he killed his wife, then his mother, who was upstairs, and as his children started arriving back home, he killed them one at a time. But the last child put up a fight. There's evidence that there was actually a bit of a struggle before he killed the last child. That's not the part that's truly fascinating about this, though. The truly fascinating part of the List story is that after he had murdered his wife, his mother, and his 3 children, he then laid them out, except for the mother. He laid the others out in the study. He laid them all out and covered them in sleeping bags, or I've seen different things. It was either sleeping bags or sheets. So he laid them all out, covered them, and shows a sign of remorse, but that remorse, of course, was just that he felt like he was saving them, and he did not move the mother, most likely because she was upstairs in her own little apartment and possibly too heavy for him to carry down the stairs. The thing that fascinated me the most was that he left all the lights on. He removed his own picture from all of the picture frames, all of the things that possibly could have his picture in them. He removed it. He turned the radio onto a operatic gospel radio station and had it full blast. And then finally, he left the house. That, to me, is fascinating in itself. And not only did he leave, but he made another life for himself. Take that as you will, but it sounds a little less like remorse and a little more like he wanted a fresh start. But first, let's talk about the discovery of the bodies. It took nearly a month for the bodies to be discovered. And that was in part because the lights started to go out. And it was because they were burning day and night, all day long, all night long. The neighbors started noticing the lights. They also noticed that nobody was coming in and out of the house. And List had been so smart that he sent letters to the school saying that his children would be visiting the wife's mother in North Carolina. And because they were visiting the mother, they didn't say anything about the children being missing from school. Part of that wasn't a lie. The wife's mother had intended on visiting, but she didn't visit because she was sick. So him saying that the children were visiting a sick grandmother wasn't a complete fabrication. And List later revealed that if she would have turned up and visited the family, she would have been his other victim. So now we know that he had taken care of the kids not being at school, but he also had the milk stopped, had the newspaper stopped, had the mail stopped. Everything that was coming to the house, he'd had stopped. And a neighbor actually called the cops because they noticed no activity, things were looking strange. But the cops didn't go any further than the door. So they just believed that the family was on an extended vacation and just hadn't been home because they had no indication outside that something was wrong. It wasn't until a concerned teacher was at the home, found by police, knocking at the door and yelling for his student, who was 16-year-old Patricia, one of List's daughters. He was distraught, hadn't heard from his student in so long, and he convinced them to go inside. Once they were inside, they went in through the basement and they came up and found the family's bodies in the ballroom. They later found List's car at the airport, but no signs of List. For a long time, the house remained empty, and then eventually an arson set fire to the home. However, there's no suspect in the arson. Meanwhile, List had rebranded himself. He became Robert Clark, and he moved all the way from Jersey to Denver, Colorado. About 15 years later, List remarried. Surprise, surprise. I told you, I think it sounds more like he just wanted a fresh start than to have 3 kids. But as Robert Clark, as Bob Clark, he remarried, and they moved to Virginia. They're getting closer and closer back to Jersey. So when the crime was 18 years old, it was shown on America's Most Wanted. They had created a clay bust in the likeness of John List, and surprisingly, it bared a very close resemblance to what he actually looked like 18 years later. After that, it only took 2 weeks to find List. 2 weeks after the clay bust was shown on America's Most Wanted, List was found. And it was actually because one of the people that worked with him in Denver recognized him. He tried to hold on to his alias. He tried to say that he wasn't who they thought he was, but his fingerprints matched the crime scene, and you just can't get away from that, honey. So, on February 16th of 1990, John List confessed to being John List. So at trial, List revealed not only that he wanted to save the souls of his family, but that he had financial troubles. So to avoid the humiliation and the poverty that comes along with him losing his job at the bank and all of his financial troubles, he just killed his family and started fresh. And then April 12th, 1990, List was convicted for the murders of his entire family, with 5 counts of first-degree murder. And then List was sentenced to 5 terms of life in prison because the judge said after 18 years, 5 months, and 22 days, it was time for the voices of the family to be heard. And at the time, this was the maximum penalty that anyone could receive. So that judge was not impressed that he moved on and wanted a fresh start with his life. The judge actually said that he showed no sign of remorse for what he had done, despite saying that he wanted to save their souls. So in 2002, Connie Chung interviewed him. He pretended to show remorse. And what I mean by that is he said he wished he hadn't done it, and he hopes that he has asked for forgiveness enough that he could have it. Basically what he said was he wished he hadn't gotten caught, and now that he's gotten caught, he hates that he did it because he got caught. And then she asked why he left the house instead of staying there with the family. And he said that he thought that path would have not led him to heaven, as if killing his entire family was okay, but himself not so much. And then on March 21st, 2018, the boogeyman of Westfield was no more. He died in New Jersey from complications of pneumonia while still serving those 5 consecutive life sentences. Upon List's death, John Walsh donated the bust that was the key part in List's arrest. He donated it to a museum in Washington, D.C. That was the National Museum of Crime and Punishment. However, you can now view the bust at the Alcatraz East Crime Museum in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, which I believe my friend Casey went to. If I'm not mistaken, Casey and Cliff, you know, from the Scream videos and the Ice Nine Kills video, they visited that specific museum. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but I think they did. And they said it was so cool that it had like Ted Bundy's car and different drawings from John Wayne Gacy and just like really interesting true crime artifacts. And they said they spent multiple hours in there. Pretty sure this is the same museum. So if you're ever in the Pigeon Forge area, be sure to check out the John List bust. It was the key to finding him after so many years. So now that I'm finished with that, I kind of stopped doing makeup by mistake. So I'm gonna put my lashes on now. These lashes are so super soft. We may or may not get this lash situation done, but we're gonna try. Okay, need both hands, so go into this mirror down here. Whew, these are big. These are very large. I feel like I'm gonna fly away. I do not think I'm going to wear these. I think I'm just gonna go with trusty mascara. Off with the lashes. And we will save evidence number 4 for another time. Wow, my eyes look so naked now. Okay. So instead, I'm gonna use the Wet n Wild Mega Length mascara. And I'm just gonna do a couple of layers of that instead. Alrighty, I did 2 layers of mascara. I think that's the better way to do that to properly replicate Penelope Garcia's look. The lashes were just too much. Next, I'm going to use my NYX Jumbo Eye Pencil, go into the corners of my eyes, and then line my eyes. There we go. And because Penelope usually has a more sparkly lip, I'm going to use Hell's Bells by Medusa's Makeup as a topper over top of Loverboy by Kate. Like that. And then I have a couple more things in my evidence box. So of course no Penelope look would be complete without glasses. I think I'm gonna go with the blue. And then finally, my FBI ID badge. So that was me talking about John List and doing a Penelope Garcia inspired makeup look while using evidence from Makeup a Murder. So for the comments down below, I have a few things that I'd like for you to talk to me about. 1, what's your favorite true crime story? 2, who's your favorite character from Criminal Minds? Or 3, what's your favorite Criminal Minds episode? And if you don't talk to me about that, talk to me about something, because I'd love for you to talk to me down in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you come around again soon. Say bye. Bye. Say wheels up in 30. Wheels up in 30.